Welcome to this week's edition of Forever Kayla. I'm sitting here with
Nicole Gaitan. I'm an associate producer on the daytime talk show The Real.
Please love yourself.
Yeah.
For real.
I'm a pro at foreplay.
This is
The Real.
So she's here to tell us what it's like. Some of you guys reached out to us, reached out to me about people in the industry that I know that work behind the scenes. And so she's here to tell us a little bit about her experiences, how to get in the industry and things like that. We met on the Doctors TV show, and you came in the summer randomly after someone else had went on to another project. And we kind of just clicked. Now there was a lot of, there's always animosity in different offices and whatnot. What did you first think when you first met me? Because I know that this is just for fun.
I mean, there are people that you just vibe with, and that was the best part. That was probably the best takeaway from that job, because it literally
So I want to ask you to take the mic, because a lot of people love The Real, and I just want to get your take on what your experiences are like on The Real, what exactly an associate producer does for that show, because a lot of people always ask me personally what a producer does, and I tell people it's different for every show sometimes.
That's exactly what I was about to
So yeah, what is your experiences like on The Real? I mean, I've been on the set before. It's really relaxed and upbeat from my experience. So go ahead. What does an associate producer do on The Real?
I'm very glad that it appeared calm and collected to you. Sometimes it's not, and it's a really good thing that you're telling people that being a producer and even an associate producer is different for every job, and because it is. And even on The Real, it's a different job depending on what department you work in. So my position, I work on what's called Top of Show, which is the news department, but we have 5 other teams that consist of celeb, lifestyle, human interest, which is basically anybody that talks on the show that is a fan of the show, and then we have signature segments, which is the games part.
Yes.
Which are really fun. My favorite segment is called The Claw.
the one, the only, the real Claw.
Which they drop someone into the balls, and then they have to grab stuff. It's really fun. But as far as an associate producer, all of these people have very different facets of their job. So for my particular position, I do a lot of work with legal and clearance, and making sure that anything that appears on our segments is legally okay to show. And if it's not, I go through every process I can. I do everything I can in my power to help my producers get what they want on camera while still abiding by legal standards. So for example, we were talking about silly things that you've gotten caught with at TSA, and one of our hosts said that she was caught with a vibrator.
I was going through TSA, and they basically scanned my bag and targeted my bag as one that needed to be checked. And I was like, oh. What's about to happen is you're about to open that bag, and there's going to be a sex toy in that bag. Are you ready for that?
I just
told him.
Okay.
I had to flip the awkward, because now I'm not awkward no more, because I made him awkward.
And so she really wanted to show that picture, but obviously, due to standards and practices, we cannot show a vibrator on network TV. Exactly. And so we had to blur it, and that's just kind of one of those things with those lines that you cross where you have to follow standards and practices, but also find a way to make that still funny when the viewer can't necessarily see the item in question. I say this all the time. No one goes into production to work 13 hours a day if they don't love what they do. Trust me, if there are other creative ways to pursue this type of career that are more stable, and if you're not willing to put in the work and to put in the hours, don't do this. There are other people that are putting in their blood, sweat, and tears for this job and want to be there.
Especially being a producer director. Historically, being a producer director writer have been like men positions. Women have been like script supervisors and things like that for years. But when you're saying a producer, I mean, honestly, when I talk to people, they're surprised if I say like I'm a producer, or like when you're saying you're a producer, people are probably like, wait, what? I thought it was like some old white guy with like glasses that's sitting in one of these chairs, and people get to sit and they're like shocked that you're the person that's like.
Yeah, and like it's so exciting to see producers at the helm, like Ava DuVernay, or even my EP, Rachel Miskowick. Like she is such a powerhouse of a woman, and it's really amazing to see her spearhead this show and really, take it to another level. And it's been wonderful to, as a fan of The Real, to have watched as a viewer and then to see it elevate year after year. And like that is absolutely due to our EP and the people around her.
So this is my last question though, is what would you say to the little girl? What would you say to yourself 10 years ago? I think that's a good question. What would you say to yourself 10 years ago?
10 years ago, I was 17. I would say you're gonna be exactly where you wanna be. When you are younger and you want to go into the industry, like basically I feel like the three main jobs are like cameraman, director, and actress. Yeah. And that is one thing that I would love for people to know about the industry, is that there are thousands of jobs in one production, or let's say hundreds of jobs in one particular production, and it can be anything your imagination can think of beyond the three titles that you just assume are part of a production. And so I am doing, like I would tell my 17-year-old self, like be patient, work hard, and believe that you can do it, because it's totally possible.
Love it. Thank you for coming, Nicole. Yay! All right, you're watching Forever Kayla. See you next week.